The accountability crisis on the far right and a whole other chunk of the GOP, as long as it's tied to Donald Trump. And it involves, of course, all the different ways that there are boundaries in American life. Others may wish they weren't held accountable this way. But actually, it is the lies that hurt Donald Trump and the lies that caused the insurrection and the lies that George Santos was peddling that all are getting smacked down in court. Today, Congressman Santos dodging criminal prosecution in Brazil after surrendering to federal authorities this week in New York. He pled not guilty on those 13 counts. They include things that relate to lying about money, stealing public funds. He is claiming it's a witch hunt. That was New York on Wednesday. Now he has confessed to theft in Brazil as a means to avoid potential prosecution there and agreed to pay restitution. So basically, they're resolving that partly by saying as long as he admits what he took and gives it back, in exchange, they agreed to drop that case against him. Now, this goes all the way back to 2008 when he went to a clothing store, wrote 2 bounce checks worth about $430, a little bit of a catch me if you can vibe. Now, the push for accountability goes well beyond that single legal case. I told you earlier this week that we were going to deal very clinically with what happened over on that other network, and we will continue to do so. But it's broader than just what Trump said or got away with in that live town hall setting where a news network decided to stack the room with Trump supporters and give out very certain instructions about who was allowed to say or do what, which is a choice. It's a choice that some have argued was not very journalistic. Now the Washington Post reports that CNN is facing a, quote, tsunami of criticism, as well as not only outside critics, and everyone's free to debate this, but from journalists inside CNN itself. One on-air personality there said, quote, "We did it wrong. We treated him like a normal politician who could be fact-checked. We ended up dancing around a demagogue." Strong words from, again, someone who appears on air on that network. Another veteran NBC News executive posting this: "The moderator cannot begin to keep up with the AR-15 pace of lies." And it's not just the lies or the very offensive and wrong attacks that Trump was allowed to make live against the moderator, as well as against someone that he was just caught defaming, E. Jean Carroll. 2 days before CNN gave this live platform, she won in court. It was a long journey. In fact, we had a witness from inside that trial on our program. She won $5 million in damages because Trump was found liable for sexual abuse and defamation against her. And again, this is all linked and it continues tonight. It's our top story as we look at the boundary for lies, because Carroll is quite seriously considering suing Trump now again after her victory for what she says could be defamatory and vile comments carried on CNN. Now, Trump also used the platform to push election lies. He would not accept the validity of the last election, which again always raises the question for people considering their vote. Do you want to elect someone who literally past and present doesn't honor democracy? Fox News, meanwhile, of course, is still suffering the fallout from that record $787 million penalty for their lies. And another defamation case along the same lines is actually heating up. It's a voting company that's suing Fox for over $2 billion. They're subpoenaing the Trump campaign, and they're looking at the conspiracy theories like this.
You just said it all. This is a Smartmatic, a Delaware entity registered in Boca Raton, Florida. Activities in Caracas, Venezuela.
With the assistance of Smartmatic software, a backdoor is capable of flipping votes.
Smartmatic is a company that was formed. It was formed really by 3 Venezuelans who were very close to the dictator Chavez, and it was formed in order to fix elections.
False, lie, false. Fox News was punished severely for maliciously, knowingly, and intentionally re-airing the same people and the same lies to the tune of $787 million, and the other case I mentioned. And some of the cases are still open against some of those individuals. We talk a lot about the First Amendment, especially these days. And I will say, although I don't always bring up what I used to practice, that I practiced First Amendment law, worked for Floyd Abrams, who won many cases at the Supreme Court. The First Amendment is an important safeguard for debate, for democracy, for the press, and for, yes, being wrong. We don't, under First Amendment law, punish people who, for example, make an honest mistake or are wrong or engage in practices to rectify their past speech that may be wrong. And we don't ever allow the government to, for example, imprison people in advance of their speech or typically for it. So there's a lot that the First Amendment protects and should protect. And if you follow the beat, I have said repeatedly, and I'll repeat it again tonight, we defend the rights of people at Fox News to share all kinds of opinions. What the First Amendment does not protect is rampant, dangerous lying without consequence. Indeed, no one ever suggested during Fox News' trial that anyone there should, for example, be imprisoned or not be allowed to speak in the future, not be allowed to post online or speak. What they're facing is the consequence. You hurt this company to the tune of this many million, now you got to pay for it. And so it's striking that while Ms. Carroll is suggesting that she is considering action against Donald Trump, the other network that aired it, the way they aired it, knowing what they know, is also running up against these questions in our society right now. At the very time that judges and juries are taking lies quite seriously, some people are looking around, seeing the signs on the wall and saying, nah, we're good. We'll do it just like we did in 2016 because that worked out so well. I'm joined now by someone at the intersection of all these issues. Maya Wiley is a former U.S. attorney in the Civil Division of the Southern District of New York. She's a civil rights leader. She also ran for mayor as a politician and candidate, which means you can see this from a lot of different angles, and that's why you're a valued analyst for us on many issues. What do you think of all the above?
I think all the above shows us exactly where you started, Ari, which is what's at stake is our democracy. And democracy dies in the dark, or in this case, dies in a morass of lies that go unchecked, because our system relies on the fact that people can make informed decisions. And that is an important principle of the First Amendment, but it's also accountability, that we have a rule of law that says we're all treated the same under the law. We're supposed to be. And one of the things we've seen in this accountability, everything from George Santos actually facing charges, he's not convicted, but nonetheless, there was enough in the news cycle to make us all think something will be wrong if there's not an accounting and a process. And so an investigation where there's a decision to charge. And Donald Trump. This is really critical because rule of law also is, you know, women, girls get to come forward and say what's happened to them and feel that the system's going to protect them and that their voices are going to matter and that it doesn't matter how powerful the assailant. And I think that's one of the things we also saw.